Before we get to part 2 of the Towering Inferno, I have maybe a weird question for you. Maybe a question you don't have an answer for or you don't care to answer.
Okay.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were in danger from some weather or a building that's on fire or...
Oh, have I ever been in like an actual emergency?
Yes. That's a more concise version of that.
I've been more or less lucky, that I've never had been on a flight where there's been a man on the wing of the plane, or I got drive-through this morning and I had to get out of my car and go in because for some reason that McDonald's wouldn't give it to me through the drive-through window. That's about as exciting as that got. But how about you? Have you ever been in a dire...
We were doing a Comedy Sports remote once, and it was in the evening, and they were saying, there's a tornado coming, and it's outside. So we had to delay the show, and I remember being weirdly calm about the whole thing. I went through my whole life being terrified of tornadoes when I was a kid, like petrified of them. And I thought, I guess I'm a little more grown up.
When I first moved to the Midwest, I'm originally from New Jersey. Yeah. Tornadoes are such an abstract concept when you don't live in an area that has them.
Sure.
So when the sky turned green and sirens started going off, I was like, are we gonna have to call Jeff Goldblum? like it really felt like it is. Are we going to be abducted?
Jeff will help.
Jeff will help. If it's dinosaurs or if it's aliens, or Michelle Pfeiffer is a jewel thief, Jeff Goldblum will help.
Welcome back to the Basement, Rob, your second day in a row to check out the exciting conclusion of the Towering Inferno.
We're not going to have to sit through a bunch of exposition or anything like that.
We've done that already.
Yeah, we are past the rising action and we are all falling all the time.
Before we get started, I have some more information about the film.
Ooh.
TTI was written by Oscar-winning screenwriter Sterling Siliphant, who adapted it from 2 separate novels. Warner Brothers had optioned Richard Martin Stern's The Tower in April of 1973. 8 weeks later, Fox optioned Thomas N. Scorsha's novel, The Glass Inferno. Veteran producer Irwin Allen was concerned that 2 movies about tall buildings on fire would, if released in such close proximity, cannibalize each other at the box office. So he convinced both studios to work together on a single movie that incorporated both novels, which had never been done before.
That's why so much stuff happens in this movie. We're using 2 different source materials and mashing them all together.
The studios would split the cost evenly. Fox would distribute in the US and Canada, and Warner Brothers would distribute in the rest of the world.
Oh, and I mentioned the other day, I did look it up, there is a South Korean remake of this movie called The Tower that's also pretty good.
Earthquake, another all-star disaster film, was also released in 1974. Some theaters would show both movies in a single program, calling it the Shake and Bake double feature.
It's the only one I haven't seen, is Earthquake.
Well, it's a new day, and that means you get another gift. Hopefully this will stimulate your love of movies and movie making.
All right. Oh, wow. It's an actual gift and not a joke gift.
That's right.
This is Interviews, Filmmakers in Conversation. Francis Coppola, David Lynch, Oliver Stone, Spike Lee, David Cronenberg, Robert Altman, Tim Burton, and Clint Eastwood. I enjoy an amount of these filmmakers.
All right, well, douse yourself in flame-resistant chemicals and make your way on over to the old leather couch where no fire is happening at all except on the screen as we watch the rest of the Towering Inferno.
Heads up, Proby. Check that door for heat. We now return to the Towering Inferno, already in progress.
With Doug Roberts, the plucky architect, who has just rescued a family of 3. You pain in the ass, kids!
Fire on the other side.
Sorry, I can't hear you over this kid's shirt.
Suddenly, a gas main ruptures. The stairs are now destroyed.
And Doug is hanging on for dear life.
He gets down to a landing.
Can you get down? Is there any way you can get down?
Get down! He guides the boy down the railing.
He's down.
Come on, make your fire daddy proud. Then he's got to climb back up and get the girl because she's too scared.
Hey, hold on tight. Hold on real tight now.
Too tight!
And then he's got to bring the mother down. She very nearly falls.
Hold on to that pole and grab a hold of my belt.
Now pull my finger. But makes it.
The fire teams can't use the elevators either, so they're gonna have to walk up with all that heavy equipment.
Nobody's gonna get down this way.
Not with that attitude.
They're going up to the stairs. They're trying to get to that promenade lounge.
But it's blocked off by a bag full of concrete that's spilled open.
Because of Roger Simmons and his corner cutting.
He decides to climb into a Willis duct.
Crawls across a precarious pit of darkness and noises. He makes it into the promenade room.
The fire team actually does reach that stairwell at that point.
We're gonna blow this door.
Blow it inside out.
Bam, 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 bam.
We're gonna blow this door, then we'll scream and shout.
Jesus Christ, it's one of our men. Oh, God.
Oh, wait, never mind. It's not one of our men. Oh, all right.
It's Ladder 22. We don't care about those
Oh,
guys.
screw those guys.
Such a nice building. Look at what they're doing to it.
There's no possibility of using this stairway to get out.
Roger Simmons says, I've had enough of this.
Why not just Roger Simmons this whole thing?
I'm just going to take the dumb stairs down to the ground. Why can't I do that? I'm Roger Simmons.
I love it when characters speed up their comeuppance through their own hubris. He runs out and then discovers that fire still exists. See, this is what happens when you do your own research.
That explosion didn't kill me. See, I did a good job building this place after all.
Roger, what are we gonna do?
I know what I'm gonna do. Get quietly drunk.
With this top shelf booze, the only place I don't cut corners is my drinking.
Yeah.
Lissalette and Harley are having a conversation
I know you've been trying to con me.
with these phony stock certificates, but she doesn't care because she kind of likes him. And she thinks that if she gives him a good life, he won't need to con people anymore. They want to just land helicopters on the roof and rescue people that way, but it's too windy, it's risky. So they attempt a helicopter rescue anyway. This is no time to play celebrity. Come on, people. This is an emergency situation. I thought it was too windy. Hey, what?
As far as Operation Get to T'Challa is concerned,
It does not go well. Oh, what the hell? What did they do? What did those two little girls do? Plan B. There's a building next door. They're going to hook up a rope situation between the two buildings and have a little chair that goes back and forth and just take people out one at a time across the chasm of space and to this building where they'll be safe. They rig up the ropes and they start doing that.
let's all cross our fingers for Operation One Person, One Chair.
Meanwhile, Doug goes into the machine room and he sets up something called a gravity brake. The scenic elevator, which is not operational because there's no power, it will go down, but it won't come back up. They get into the elevator, including his lady love, Susan.
If you asked me to go to the North Pole, or even the cliffs of Mendocino, I'd go.
But I won't go to Barstow. And Bakersfield, forget it. And it starts its slow descent. Oh, crap.
Boom! Another explosion happens, and then the elevator goes clunk.
Lissalette falls to her death. Oh, you guys, this is such an emergency. Many people are in danger. You know this already. I don't know why I'm telling you. I'm very excited. O'Halloran snaps into action. He's going to have a helicopter fly him over to that thing, put a hook on top of the elevator, and lower it down to safety.
Let's hope that works.
The chairlift is working, but it's real slow. Okay, this is going good. We'll have these people evacuated in about 11 hours.
Yeah.
It's cold in here. Someone light a fire.
We actually have been able to attach the chopper to the elevator. Amazingly, it does work. Come with me and you'll see.
A whole world of helicopter action. It will make you nervous to distraction. Could this inferno get any more towering? Come on! They managed to get all the women to safety. And Roger Simmons,
Drunk and panicky, decides, you know what? I don't like the number I have. What if I'm number one?
Jim Duncan, his father-in-law, gives him a slug in the breadbasket and says, "You're gonna go last, Roger." The chief of firemen calls O'Halloran over.
They have a real crazy idea that no one likes.
Those people are gonna die up there if something's not done.
There are some big water tanks above them
They hold 1 million gallons of water. That's more than enough to drown the fire.
That's going to kill some of those people too, but some of them will survive. And O'Halloran, you've got to go plant the explosives. And this is a mission that you will not return from.
Oh, shit.
O'Halloran does it because he's a hero. The chairlift comes on to take its next passenger. Roger Simmons and a bunch of his other rich cronies decide they're all going to ride it out all at once. The ropes break. Simmons and a couple other dudes plunge to their death.
Robert?
It's the fire. I'm coming for your family, Doug.
O'Halloran calls Doug and tells him what's going to happen. I'll meet you up at the water tanks. Where is OJ?
Yeah.
We're going to cut to OJ down on the ground and he's just surrounded by cats.
Yeah.
Like, I got all the cats
I got
out.
all the cats. Doug meets up with O'Halloran, who's now reached the top of the building, and then they start planting explosives.
We'll set the timer for 5 minutes. That'll give us enough time to get back downstairs, tie ourselves to a pillar, and wait for the explosion.
All the rest of the survivors are now strapping themselves in for Operation Explodey Sploosh. I am not coming up with another name.
The explosives go boom, and there's water everywhere. The towering tsunami.
Yeah.
People are getting wet and wild.
There's no good time to die during this emergency, but this would be a particularly ironically bad place to die. You get up to St. Peter, it's like, oh, you're here from that Towering Inferno fire, huh? What happened? Did you fall out of the building? No. Did you burn up? No. What happened? I drowned. What?
And the water cascades down the length of the building and starts to put out that fire. Ah, yes, the trickle-down theory of firefighting years before Reagan. The fire subsides, and people decide if they're alive or not. O'Halloran and Doug both make it, as do many of the other principal characters. Come on, Fred Astaire, you'll be all right. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again.
All right, so what's the plan now? Oh, no plan? We're just going to cut to everybody being okay? All right.
Back down on the ground.
Lisa! Lisa!
Well, this is a fine romance. And he finds out.
Sorry, she's dead.
Right on cue, O.J. Simpson shows up and hands him a cat. Yeah, you could do worse than that. Duncan has made it as well, and he vows to never let this happen again.
Maybe they just ought to leave it the way it is. Kind of shrine to all the bullshit in the world.
No, a shrine to all the bullshit, that's Hollywood. You gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go south.
A little further.
O'Halloran sees Doug.
You know, we were lucky tonight. Body count's less than 200. You know, one of these days, you're gonna kill 10,000 in one of these fire traps.
And once again warns him of the follies of skyscrapers. Well, thank goodness that this building is no longer a towering inferno.
Roll credits. I assume there's not going to be a scene after the end credits where Nick Fury tries to recruit the fire to do something.
O'Halloran, there's another fire happening downtown! Well, the Towering Inferno is finally over, and my nerves are shot.
It really is a one damn thing after another movie.
And the movie really has an intense case of skyscraper phobia.
Yeah! The way that times change, the times were changing the skyline. So
Yeah.
I think people were also very concerned about that. People were starting to get more conscious about things like air pollution and industry taking over our everyday lives.
Right. The root of this disaster is not necessarily the height of the skyscraper, it's the irresponsibility under which it was built.
I think it's a little unfair for us to throw all of this on Richard Chamberlain's character when it feels like there should be more than one person in charge of figuring out whether things are safe in a building like that.
He's the only unrepentant character.
Right.
Doug and Duncan both acknowledge their responsibility in these occurrences.
Yeah.
I think Richard Chamberlain is the MVP of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought his performance was excellent.
Paul Newman is kind of the king of resignation in movies.
He's built entire roles around it. The Color of Money,
Yeah.
The Verdict. He just plays these beaten down guys who are just making it happen nevertheless.
He would have been an utterly fantastic John McClane had those movies happened at the time that the book was written. That's sort of the spirit of Paul Newman Hero, is always just that moment of like, I don't want to have to do this, but no one else is gonna.
And he's capable of summoning that charm as well.
Yeah.
Very disappointed to find that Faye Dunaway has very little to do in this entire 3-hour epic. She seems to be there purely as eye candy. And to have another big name on the poster.
The one thing that the movie does give her is a really cool shot of her on the elevator as it's descending down.
So this is what I imagine. So OJ rescues the cat. Mm-hmm. He gets in the elevator, goes downstairs, just stands in the lobby holding the cat for the next hour and a half. Oh, hey, there's that guy. I gotta do something with this cat. Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, they did a lot of top-loading of his significance in the story to have him just rescue a dead woman's cat.
I imagine there might have been some scenes cut with him escaping the building.
The thing that really is shocking is not that Lissalette dies, it's how she dies. Oh! She hit a thing on the way down! Like Propeller Guy in Titanic! What did she do to deserve that?
It seems like some unspoken rules in these movies are the people who die are nobodies that we don't know.
Right.
Bad people. Mm-hmm. Good people if they're doing something heroic.
Right.
She is just murdered by gravity.
She is one of 2 women in the movie who is murdered by the fire deciding, it's not enough to set you on fire. I'm going to throw you out of the building.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say that I'm afraid of heights, but dangling me between 2 buildings in a flimsy aluminum chair, Rob, I don't think I could have done it. I think I would have stayed in the building.
I think the fact that your entire safety is dependent on a bunch of people panicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the professionals were doing the best they can, but I mean, it is still one wire in high wind. That's the thing, is it's high wind.
It wasn't wire, it was rope.
It was rope, yeah.
Probably realistically what it would have been is I would have seen that and I would have went, nope, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. What? My number's up? Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
I think I made a brief comment about this at the very beginning of the movie yesterday. The music in this is pretty atrocious. And there was a period from the early mid-70s to the very early 80s, like 81, where movie music was awful.
Yeah.
If you look at a movie like The In-Laws, the music is terrible. It's like that kind of stuff. Yeah. Stripes. The music in Stripes is really bad.
I think there was a generic attitude towards movie music, you know, where there was a very good enough for jazz attitude, where it's just like, well, we just need to convey whimsy, so...
Yeah.
But who did the score for this movie? John Williams.
That's true. The scheme with the water is pretty oversimple.
I would have been mad if a couple people didn't get killed during that. Because why wouldn't you? It's 20 billion tons of water being dropped on you. It makes a little bit of sense that a couple people heard the explosion, went, that's it! And then untied themselves and just got killed by panic. I feel like we don't put enough stock in the realism of panic in movies like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in real life, people do stupid things.
We just sit on our couches or in our movie seats and go, look at these dummies. What they deserve to die. Well, they're not thinking straight.
Right.
And you wouldn't either.
Right.
I think Steve McQueen was Steve McQueen.
Yeah. Steve McQueen's character doesn't really have an arc.
He's almost like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the movie. Where he comes in knowing exactly what's going on here, exactly where the problems come from and how to solve them.
Yeah. And my comment that he does not have a character arc isn't actually even a complaint. I think that's the point.
He shouldn't have a character arc.
You want a guy like him in charge of an emergency like this. You don't want somebody who's like, I need to go through a bunch of emotional hula hoops to do this.
Imagine if we got to the end of the movie and O'Halloran meets up with Doug and he's like, I can't believe we got out of that. I'm quitting being a fireman. I can't do this anymore.
I'm going to return to my favorite love, painting.
The Towering Inferno has been put out, and it's time for us to soothe our shattered nerves with a little bit of Seen It.
Seen It!
Micro Homebrew. The Wolf of Wall Street was fun, and I didn't get tired or bored of it during the 3-hour ordeal. Seen It.
Seen It!
Wolf of Wall Street, or as I like to call it, Martin Scorsese's Caligula.
You know, that's actually a pretty apt way to put it.
There are certain aspects of it that prevent you from fully enjoying it on your first view. You start off in this movie just hating Jordan Belfort so much, so intensely.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole movie, you just want him to get his comeuppance.
Yes.
The second time I watched it, I caught on to a lot of stuff that I missed that first time.
Yeah.
Because I was just seething. It's a comedy. And also, Jordan and his meathead cronies, they're morons.
Yeah.
They're so stupid.
Yeah, they're villain protagonists. That was the big criticism of the movie. Why is Martin Scorsese glamorizing Jordan Belfort like this?
Glorifying this lifestyle.
Why is he making this look so good? Being rich is something that everybody kind of wants on some level. We understand why you dream of doing this, but if you try it, you're not going to be Jordan. You're going to be one of these other people in the crowd listening to Jordan trying to sell that pen. The meek shall not inherit the earth.
Right.
It's going to be schmucks like this. Robert WF42 asks, Sorcerer, a 1977 film directed by William Friedkin, director of The French Connection and The Exorcist. Seen it?
I saw it in the movie theater.
Oh, wow.
At the Cinematheque here in town. Great movie to watch on the big screen. Have you seen Wages of Fear?
I've never seen Wages of Fear. But yes, I know that this is a remake of it.
Sorcerer lacks the relationships and the philosophical depth of Wages of Fear. I think there's a better story there, but it definitely delivers on thrills and harrowing action set pieces. Charlie Enoch Moe. My favorite old movie this year was His Girl Friday. It's so easy to get sucked into the charm, and the script is so well written. They, I believe, ad-libbed a lot. I particularly enjoyed Rosalind Russell's performance. Seen it!
Seen it!
I just saw it a couple nights ago, actually. I've seen that movie about a half a dozen times. It's easy to slip into hyperbole when praising His Girl Friday.
Yeah. Here's how well written His Girl Friday is. When I first saw it, I was a young enough kid that I saw it while sitting on the floor amongst a pile of Legos building something. It was on, I didn't know what it was. I just simply was too far away from the remote to change it. Black and white movie about reporters? This seems boring. I was deeply enthralled by it. And then a few years later, my dad and I saw a production of The Front Page. And all through the front page, I kept thinking, oh, where's the woman?
Where's the lady? Yeah.
Where's the lady?
Yeah, Hildy Johnson used to be a man.
Yeah.
Even had the same name.
Yeah. Where is she? That was the best part of the whole thing. Alexander Harris Samuel says, Saltburn was such an excellent dark comedy with great performances and interesting dialogue. Seen it.
Seen it.
People who know me personally know what I'm about to say next, which is that Saltburn is a perfect, tight little thriller at 90 minutes that unfortunately continues on for 50 more minutes until it overmakes its point.
And it seems to really lose itself in itself.
It's very much up its own ass.
The notorious shots and scenes in this movie are truly gratuitous in that they exist only for themselves. They don't exist to elevate the movie or to prove a point or anything like that.
Right. I'm starting to hit my limit with movies that end with the revelation that everything was all part of a plan. Yeah. It's like, oh, come on. Then nobody made any decisions that meant anything.
There's a scene. Mm-hmm. There's just been a funeral.
Uh-huh.
The love of his life is dead.
Yes.
And he's at the graveside, and he's weeping, and he's overcome with emotion.
Yes.
He throws himself on the grave. Mm-hmm. At that moment, I thought, boy, you know what would be really dumb? As if he took off his pants and started fornicating with the grave.
Right.
Well, but that would never happen.
No.
And then there's a real cool and dry place that you can go to satisfy your desire for entertainment, and that's our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. Our entire back catalog is there, and there are also PayPal donation buttons that you can click on to make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support Welcome to the Basement. Welcome to the Basement, the show, the entity behind it, and the space itself would appreciate it. And right now, I want to shout out one of our recent monthly donors, not a new donor, he's back. It's Maurizio. Has renewed his monthly donation schedule, and I certainly appreciate that.
Aw, thanks, Mauricio.
Rob will be back one more time next week for unboxing. We are going to have some fun then. We hope you'll join us. Right now, take a look at this. I used these pieces of explosive on some Ziggy comics earlier, and it was a lot of fun. Was that the only purpose of Silly Putty?
And you can roll it into a ball and you can bounce it.
You can bounce it, yeah. That's what I thought.
I thought you could maybe turn it into body armor and then found out the hard way you cannot.
Ah.
Oh, shit.